All right, so I have a story for you. My husband and I were sitting in our kitchen, and we were talking about our kiddos who were playing in the adjacent room, and he was explaining to me his new philosophy on child rearing, which is they're pretty much like drunk college roommates at all times. And so he goes, no, it's true, Halle, it's really true. You tell them to stop eating your food, you tell them don't touch the plants, and I say things that I never thought would come out of my mouth, like, why are you licking the wall? So in the middle of this conversation, we were interrupted by our 1-year-old. We heard him scream. And as we ran into the other room, and you know that cry if you have kids, where something's definitely wrong. And our second youngest is telling me, he's bleeding, Mom. And we run in, and he's climbed up on the chair, which we didn't know he was capable of doing, and has now done this like Superman head dive into the table and cut his eye open. So he is definitely the third kid, because we're like, buck up, buddy, you're gonna be fine. Here's a popsicle, which we have found helps all ailments in our household, popsicles. And then I started looking at it, and I went, gosh, that's still bleeding. It's not gonna close. And I don't know what you do in those situations, but I took a picture and texted my mom. Now, my mom is amazing all on her own, but she's a physician's assistant, and I usually go to her for direction and navigation and to confirm any kind of mom gut feels that I have. And she's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna close on its own. So we took all 3 kids in, and away we go. So how does this relate to what I'm talking about today? I really want to share the story of My Care Alaska, and how that came to be through the Test Kitchen, which is the innovation team at Premera. So let me move to the next. This is what the platform looks like. And it's a secure chat-based platform where members can be connected to doctors in under 30 seconds. You can do it on your mobile phone, or you can do it online. And it was created in partnership with CirrusMD, who specializes in the technology platform behind the product. And I'd really like to talk about the story in the framework that we use in the Test Kitchen. So it has 6 parts. Inspiration is the first, which comes from customer challenges, and then immersion into that experience, which drives empathy, insight derived from time spent walking in the customer's shoes, and then invention as we seek possible solutions to the challenge. Incubation, we begin testing, and then we iterate and finally share those learnings out with the business, who either adopts a product or makes changes based on what those learnings are. So start with inspire, which is one of my favorite parts. And it's not hard to be inspired here. It's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. I'm so grateful I get to be here with you all today. But it's also a really challenging healthcare environment. In fact, our whole country is facing a lot of challenges. And what I find is it gets exacerbated once we get up into the Alaska area. And why is that? A lot of people have spoken to that today. Geographically unique here, which is amazing and beautiful, but there's relatively few providers over a large area, and there's also the highest healthcare costs in the nation, and that means the world. You guys have got the highest healthcare costs here. And so when we went into immersion and insight, I didn't have to go very far. Like I said, I had our kitchen table conversation there with my husband and my kiddos, and I think to delve into those big issues of access and cost, none of us have to go very far. Oops. These are my 3 kids. The little one is the Superman one. He's got a little scar, but you can't see it so bad, so that's good. Evie's 8, Lincoln's 6, and Jace at the bottom is now 3. And my encouragement for all of us here is that we have stories. We have amazing stories. We have our stones that they mentioned earlier, and they're all needed to solve these huge issues of cost and access. And we can each relate with healthcare because we're all consumers of it. And we can come together with our different perspectives. Everybody has a unique perspective on what it's like to be involved in it to solve these issues of access and cost. And for my story of being able to text my mom, which was such an awesome thing to have there right at my fingertips, it became really apparent when I saw the technology partner we're working with, CirrusMD. So their story is their founder was an emergency medicine physician, and he was working a shift. Family member texted him. He was able to resolve their problem right then and there. And he thought to himself, how many people are out in that waiting room that could have just texted, and their issue could have been resolved? And so from there, they created the company and the technology platform to be able to do just that. So other insight into this issue, a little broader, what we find is our customers have a hard time, just like I do, knowing where to get care to meet their needs. ER visits are expensive. They're more expensive here, and approximately 20% of them are for issues that could be handled in lower acuity settings. I don't think anybody wants to go to the ER, but sometimes you're real scared and you don't know what to do. And then finally, emergency medicine physicians are trained to triage and handle higher acuity levels of care. What we found is other chat-based platforms have primary care providers, which are also awesome, on them. But when we were looking at the population in Alaska, we thought we'd like to really make sure that they can handle a broad spectrum of needs. So the technology platform offers a solution very similar, like I said, to texting my mom, and gives her a break. But in Invent and Incubate, oops, gosh, this clicker and I are not friends. Let me go back for a sec. We had a couple of hypotheses that we worked out in partnership with CirrusMD. And we wanted to test those in the Alaska market to see if they really could meet those cost and access issues that we saw here. And again, it's not about avoiding care, but we have a firm belief that right care at the right time is going to resolve issues and help people in the long run. So what does it look like, the platform? You kind of saw it already because I'm awesome with the clicker skills. But it is just like texting. You essentially go into the platform, it's secure, and then you ask your questions with the physician that's there. And what I love is it's under 30 seconds. So it's way better than my mom and way better than my friends. They're fast, and they got back to you really quick. So we've had this going for 3 months now, so we're beginning to get some data, and as we continue, we'll continue to explore that and share those learnings out. What we're finding is people are really enjoying this experience. And I'm going to read this just for those who can't see the picture. It says, "This is a great service. Finding a provider here is tough. Finding one you like is tougher, and finding one you like who's taking new patients is very challenging. Great service for Alaska." So in closing, I have 3 takeaways. Get inspired. Use your own story to impact the problems you see around you. Get together, bring those stones together, the stone soup that was talked about earlier, find like minds, and find minds that are different, who have different perspectives than yours. That has been the biggest help to me as I've been working and developing products with our team, is diverse perspectives and diverse thinking, and they just make sure so much better. And then finally, get cooking. We gotta create. That testing and incubation part is difficult, and getting there is really hard. But so worth the journey and what you can find from that experience. And the kitchen is always open. At my house, come down to Seattle, say hi. But also, it's always open at Premera. So we would love to partner with those of you who have ideas and concepts, and we're here to see how we can test those out in the market and really alleviate those issues of cost and access for Alaska. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.